Attorney Sandra and I have enjoyed getting to know you and Patrice, and we look forward to a great year under your leadership for the Georgia Chamber. Well, welcome to all of you, distinguished guests, individuals who are leaders in our state and local communities, and welcome not only to a new year, but to the beginning of the legislative session. To Ernest Greer and the Georgia Chamber, I want to thank you for inviting me to speak this morning. This is actually the first of 3 presentations that I'll make today. The State of the State address will be later this morning, and my remarks to the appropriation committees of the House and the Senate will be this afternoon. While I will not address every issue that I consider important this morning, it will include some items that will not be duplicated later today. Truthfully, I think the General Assembly and I have done many things right during our time together, such as making our state's waterways safer and reforming our justice systems to reduce crime and cost. We have entwined our efforts with members of the private sector, such as the Georgia and local chambers, to ensure that we're working with our state and not just for it. For example, your support in such matters as the Georgia Competitiveness Initiative has allowed us to find where our business needs lie and then put plans in action to fill those gaps. Working together, we've accomplished much. When I deliver my annual State of the State address, I will detail my plans and proposals for this upcoming year. And I'm certainly excited about what we have in store. For now, I would like to discuss what you and another matter of importance, I hope, to you and all of us, not merely for this chamber, but rather for the state as a whole. It's no secret that we in Georgia have been honored for our great track record. Olympic athletes trained their whole lives to earn this recognition. Companies long to acquire it, and we have it. Georgia is number 1. For the first time ever, we've surpassed every other state as the top place in the nation in which to do business. Well, it might be appropriate in this setting to start chanting, "We're number 1." I don't think I'm going to do that, because I think it's important to examine how we got here and what we're doing to try to stay on top. I suppose the story of how we achieved our current status dates back to when our ancestors first drew the boundaries of our great state. You could say that geographically, we won the lottery. 80% of the United States market can now be reached within a 2-hour flight or a 2-day truck drive from our state. We have built on the work of those who came before us and taken advantage of that geography that has allowed us to grow. It is through this tactic of seizing every opportunity and making new ones that we've gone from a good state for business to a great state for business. And it is also why we are now considered the state for business. For instance, we move more people through Hartsfield-Jackson than any other airport in the world, having just added the new international wing in 2012. It's an important economic development tool, and we let every company, domestic and global, know about it. We continue to develop our roads, highways, and interstates to keep people and businesses moving within our state and onward to others. Of particular note, we are in the middle of the largest project in our state's transportation department's history, our Northwest Corridor project. This project will make use of reversible lanes and innovation from the private sector to relieve tie-ups in one of our state's most congested routes. This new option will mean a more reliable commute for thousands of Georgians. We're also working on a 400-285 interchange to relieve congestion in another pivotal area. We are completing the Fall Line Freeway to keep our goods flowing throughout our state. And the Jimmy DeLoach Parkway connector, we're going to be linking the Port of Savannah with our interstate system. Our transportation agencies remain focused on keeping our promises, doing more with less, and directing our efforts where they're needed most. The Port of Savannah, the nation's fourth largest and fastest growing, provides our businesses with a powerful outlet to the rest of the world. For the past 15 years or so, Georgia has pushed to deepen the port so that our businesses and our economy can reap the benefits of being able to accept those larger cost-saving ships that will be coming through the new Panama Canal. Since I took office, we've made great strides in this area, but we're ready to get this show on the road. This past year, I went down to Panama to see the progress that they were making. And while it was impressive, they began to apologize to me for being a little behind schedule. And they said, you know, we're just not going to finish this in 2014. It's probably going to be 2015, a year later than our goal. I told them, well, that's all right. Y'all just take your time. We want you to make sure you get it right. For after all, we won't be finished with our deepening project by next year either. But while there still remains one additional legislative act to clear the legal hurdles on this project, I want to thank our United States Senators and our representatives for their unanimous support on this issue. And Saxby has assured me he's not going to leave Washington till we get that new cost level reauthorized. Now, for our part, my budget this year will include Georgia's last remaining amount for our anticipated portion of those expansion costs. Now, while we're on the topic of transportation, I'd like to highlight some relevant improvements that we've made that enhance the quality of life in our state, which those of us who are here know is just as important for drawing jobs to Georgia as any tax credit. 2 years ago, in conjunction with the Georgia Departments of Transportation and Public Safety, we committed to keeping traffic flowing on our interstate corridors by clearing accidents quicker. Last year, I added 75 new Georgia State troopers to patrol the interstates of Metro Atlanta during the hours when accidents will most likely occur. As a result, the average response time to an interstate traffic accident is now less than 10 minutes in Cobb and Gwinnett counties. And the time it takes to clear a crash in those areas has also been reduced to an average of 30 minutes. That's great improvement on that subject. Every minute that we can save, you see, goes back to those drivers who are trying their best to get to where they want to be. Of course, sometimes these accidents are more than mere inconvenience to travelers. And we see many instances on and off our roads where immediate medical attention is needed. Someone's hurt in these crashes and may require speed beyond what our roads will allow. And in that case, we call in a helicopter to carry them to a hospital. But unfortunately, not every region is currently covered by this service as we would like for it to be. For this reason, I have included in my budget proposal for amended fiscal year 14 and for the 15 budget over $12 million that will go toward providing crucial life flights in southwest Georgia, an area that is in need of far better access. This too is a partnership with the Department of Public Safety and local governments, which we are happy to undertake. I believe that's the right thing to do for that part of our state. Naturally, we've done other things in recent years that have hastened our state's ascent to #1, such as enacting sweeping tax reforms that lowered our state's tax burden and lifted our economy. We did this with the help of the private sector and the Georgia Competitiveness Initiative, whereby we boosted our manufacturing sector, supported our farmers, and promoted strong families. We've also put in place efforts to make a more educated Georgia, and thus a more prepared workforce, even though we already have one of the best set of employees in the country. Our future workforce must meet the standards of our current one and meet the demands of our future economy. This is why, from getting our young people reading on grade level by the end of the 3rd grade, to creating and saving college scholarships, we are working to keep our students moving forward toward a degree, which is the freedom that they need. A Georgia that learns is a Georgia that leads. To further last year's efforts to strengthen our workforce in strategic areas by way of our technical college, this year I'm putting $5 million in funds to cover 4 new areas with expected job growth. These are welding, healthcare technology, diesel mechanics, and information technology. We're also creating a new scholarship to help our highest achieving technical college students more fully afford the cost of their education. And during the State of the State address, I will roll out a new higher education initiative that will give you businessmen and women the chance to help us form our workforce of the future. Our ever-improving assets have certainly driven us to our top spot, but there's another aspect of our ranking, one which often gets overlooked. Site Selection magazine, who dubbed us the best state for business, bases a large part of their analysis on the feedback from site selection consultants. These are the men and women, the ones with whom many of you consult when you want to learn where you should grow your business or where you should start a new one. We are proud that Georgia sits favorably in their minds, and we've certainly worked to make ourselves available so that we stay there. These strong relationships and this marketing of our state would not have been possible without the help of the Georgia Departments of Economic Development and Community Affairs, the General Assembly, and our private partners. Since we have new leadership in both of these 2 state agencies, I'd like to ask Chris Carr, our new Commissioner of the Department of Economic Development, and Gretchen Corbin, the new Commissioner of the Department of Community Affairs, to please stand. These are well-qualified individuals who will carry on the excellent work of their predecessors. To make sure that we continue to meet the needs of businesses looking to locate or expand in our state, we've included $25 million in our amended 14 budget for economic development. These additional resources will help local communities and development authorities build crucial elements needed to attract companies and will allow us to continue to partner with local efforts which will bring more jobs to Georgia. We'll continue to build our assets and market our state to the global economy. In doing so, we hope to hold on to our position as number 1. But let us consider for a moment what our rank means. Is this simply a trophy that will sit on our shelf until dust collects and we have only to be able to reminisce about our glory days? Or is there more to it? Surely the meaning of our ranking will not quickly fade, for there is nothing fleeting about it. Our renown brings investments to our economy and jobs to our citizens. We've made great progress. As a result of our efforts, we've attracted the eyes of businessmen and women such as you. And this new ranking will certainly put us within the sight of many more. In fact, during my term so far, we've attracted more than 1,100 projects and $16.3 billion in capital investment. These projects are paying off. The carpet and flooring community in Northwest Georgia, for instance, was hard hit by the recession. But we have recently announced approximately 3,000 flooring-related jobs going to that region. In terms of projects committed to our state during my administration, we've seen approximately a 40% growth in job creation compared to the height of the Great Recession. These new additions take time to complete and open, of course, but as they do, I suspect we will continue to see the unemployment rate drop. And by the way, it is currently at its lowest point in half a decade. We'll keep building on our state, marketing Georgia, and reaching out to companies for input and investment. We will seek investments from all businesses for all parts of our state, and not just new businesses for a few big cities. In fiscal year 13, 2/3 of the projects came from existing businesses in Georgia deciding to expand. Their successes are our successes. In addition, more than half of the jobs created from our projects and more than 3/4 of the state's investment were headed to areas outside of Metro Atlanta. We captured the top spot by capitalizing on advantages, by using innovation, by investing in crucial resources, by building relationships, and by listening to the needs of the private sector. We'll work to stay number one by amplifying those efforts, and our agenda this year reflects that promise. We thank you for your support, and we welcome your continued partnership as we move Georgia forward. Thank you.